Hello, you beautiful people. I hope you're keeping well. I am just ever so slightly late because I'd forgotten to do my eye drops because they do tend to sting, they get dry. I thought it was hay fever, but my opticians thought differently. So I am here now. I've just seen that this stream has gone live. So how are you doing, people? I hope you've had a good week. Now, high contrast. I'm not talking about the very talented musician. This is actually the something that I don't tend to do, which is take very high contrast pictures. I like to have quite neutral colours, and it is possible to still achieve that. But I just wanted to try playing a lot more with light and darkness. So that's where the idea for this stream is. As always, I just like to push myself a little bit. And it is certainly becoming difficult to think of new ways to challenge myself. But that's part of the reason for this particular theme to this stream, is that it's actually taken me out of my usual style. So I may actually discover a new style of photography out a result of this. So let's see how we get on. So if you want to talk about contrast, that is a very high contrast. And how far can we actually go? Oh, ha, you can actually go all the way up to the ceiling. That's very cool. So it's quite annoying you can't just lift up. You know, there's no buttons to go up or down, but that's kind of cool that we can. We have pretty much free reign of it though. So yeah, that's very high contrast because it's a very vibrant green against a grey background. Does it make a good picture? No, but it's an example. Do those shadows make a good picture? Yes. Do I want to go slightly higher again? Because really it's that pillar that grabs my attention rather than this sprout, which is why I've moved it slightly back. Now I do need the grid for this. I want that to be, and it's just a guideline because it's in landscape instead of portrait, but it gives me a rough idea of how I'm setting up the image. So in my mind I'm narrowing the two vertical lines and sort of imagining it. I do get it wrong sometimes, I'm not going to lie, which is why I'm bringing it back a little bit, which also means I need to drop down a little bit just to keep that angle. And now we're going to muck around with, actually we're going to do the brightness again. Temperature I'm fine with, and that's just making it blue so it's sad, or orange so it's nice and happy. So we'll go to contrast. I'm going to increase that a fair bit, almost to noir standards. And this is a good thing to demonstrate actually. So if I get rid of all the colour, then you've got the pure picture, so it allows you to work on the black and white. And then gamma just to almost undo what I did. So now I'm happy with that. Just a slight increase, because if I go more then that undoes the contrast. So next we're going back to the saturation, and I'm going straight to 50. Oh, I just wanted to remove it to give you a demonstration. So now the green looks very unnatural. And that's my starting point. So I'm just going to drop it back, because it was quite saturated, so it was a very strong contrast. So I'm only dropping it down to 41, I think. No, I'm going to stick at 42. Just gives me that impression of life. What else do I want to do? Let's see about the red, see if that changes anything in the wall. Nope. So we've got those done. Autofocus I'm not going to play with. Oh. Or am I? So I'm not going to go for the autofocus. What I'm going to do, just bring it back until the wall, so that pillar that I'm interested in, comes into focus. And this involves a lot of tapping on the D-pad, because I just feel that if I use the autofocus, as soon as I bring it back to this sort of composition, it will focus on the plant. Oops. I pressed the back down button by mistake. Oh my word, this is taking some time. I am wondering why this plant is coming into focus and not that. Which is actually pretty good. That's a strange picture, not gonna lie. There's the grid. I'd lost it for a moment. A bit more brightness, I think. Just a touch. I think that will work. This guy. Okay, so I'm thinking brightness may actually get us out of this spot. Again. So we've got a good bit of highlights on him. So let's see. So that's a good contrast. We're going to adjust the gamma and go back to contrast. So it's brought a fair bit of detail out on the character. Now the problem is it's quite a bright background, so I'm not overly keen on that angle. So we may have to use the wall. Actually, we'll just go for a really close crop. Something like that. A bit further round. No, I need the grid. I probably don't need the grid, but I'm going to use it because it's more of a comfort blanket than anything else. So we may lose that spike or the back of the head. I'm not sure what I'm going to lose on this crop, but I'm effectively trying to keep the most important parts within this square. And that. Another little trick, which is going to be so difficult to do with this. That was too far. Is have the eyes at the right level. So I'm going to set it for the bridge of the nose. But I do want to go up just ever so slightly. like that, I think. So now let's go back to the corrections. So I don't need that much colour. And I will be adjusting the highlights in post-editing just to really bring this image out. Because I don't feel I can go any further with the contrast. So I'm going to just adjust the brightness. Because sometimes dropping the colour can also darken an image. So I've just brought that back in and conveniently can take off the grid now. No. It was too steep an angle. I want the focus to be on the head. And even though I'm compensating for the crop, I want to have the right angle for it. Which is just a touch down. Precision mode would be useful. Do I have a rotate? Turn of the camera. Now I don't want to go too far. I'm not going for the Dutch angle because I don't know what that is. But I'm not going too far. I don't want it anything extreme like that. Because this way, yes, it allows you to have a flat top horizontal on it, but it just ruins the image. I just want to have it so that the wall is quite straight. I'm using the line near that circle with the B in it to judge that. And then I'm just dropping it a little bit further. And that's just to help get more in the crop that I'm going for, because I've tilted the plant down a little bit. Quite a bit, actually. And I don't like it. I think the eyes were better round about there. No, that's what I'm going for. That's interesting. What can we do with this? If anything, really. That gives you an idea of what we can do with it. And what we're looking for is a strange angle. Probably not that close. Because again, the crop and so on. This is going to be odd. Most certainly strange. It actually seems to be getting flatter as I'm doing the contrast, which is quite unusual. With the domes, or the converse, was it convex? I always get that the wrong way around. The convex domes in the wall. Drop the greens a little bit, increase the red and the blues quite a touch, which is an odd filter. I may bring that green back in because it was countered out by increasing the reds and the blues. Saturation I can afford to drop a little bit. I'm going to drop the temperature as well, a little bit bluer. So yeah, there's no way to give any sort of depth to those circles, which is a shame, but I just can't, as far as I can tell. I could try increasing the contrast further, but no, they are just too shallow. I don't mind that contrast though. Let's bring the brightness up again to to about there. And the beams of light are fairly interesting. I mean, I'll take the picture. And I was almost going to try a picture framing my character in the wall and remember that I am just a series of arms. Because again, thinking about the close crop and just to give you a rough idea, just think of the vertical lines as the edges of the portrait. It's not quite, it's slightly wider. And I just want to think of where I want this to be. So I'm going to go up slightly. About there. That's ideally where I'd like it to be. Brightness, I'm going to ramp up a fair bit actually. Because I really want a strong contrast on this. About there. The gamma is going to go up a fair bit as well. It's about 53. Saturation, bring that down to about there. And let's play with with focus. This may take some time, but it does give me a chance to wet my whistle. So cheers. So yeah, apart from the opticians, I don't really have anything exciting to say. I mean, the opticians was literally just picking up my glasses, because I'd already had the eye test, chose the lenses that I wanted to go for, and I chose form over function. Simply because, no, function over form, simply because I need varifocals. So this is my long distance, that's my normal in the middle, and then that's my short distance. And for some reason, you have to pay to get it clearer on the edges. And so as a result of that, having wider glasses means that the actual distorted bit is further away, so you've got more vision. I mean, I did pay to get it improved, but I didn't pay for the full package, because quite frankly I just feel like it's an absolute con. Right, so yeah, I went and picked them up, and I'm used to having my glasses adjusted for my face when I first get them, but I was told just try them for a week, see how you get on, and try them. So I've been in a bit of pain. So it cuts just into the ear there, and on this side of the nose it cuts into. So it is fairly uncomfortable, which is probably why I'm a little bit angsty. So if I am, I do apologise. I try not to allow it to affect the people around me. I mean, I've also got live testing on one of my processes. I've discovered a few things that need changing, but it was still a success, so I was really happy about that. It was a bit of a family get-together as well on Saturday, so that was quite nice. But that's about it. You know, I don't exactly live a rock and roll lifestyle, but all in all, it wasn't too bad a week. And as I say, I hope you've all had a good one. And while I was rambling, what I was working on is, as I say, to get the contrast, I had to really increase the brightness of this picture. And Then I worked on the contrast so that the brightness just turned into highlights, which is something I wanted to work on. To actually contrast the contrast, I dropped the saturation. And then just for a little bit of interest and depth to it, what I've done is I've put the focal distance between the two circles and then just expanded it a little bit. So you've got a little bit of blurring on the outside, so the right half of the circle closest to us, and at the top left-hand quarter of the circle at the top is slightly out, and I'm hoping that will give it a little bit of interest and depth to it. So let's have a look. That is so very, very disturbing, but again, too dark that side, so let's go up just a touch more. I want to use the curve of the window to frame that. And just go slightly to the right. I want to have the dark background behind him and a bit of space behind the nose maybe. Readjust that. Gonna just experiment with a few angles. About there. Brightness needs increasing massively because again I'm going to be doing the contrast. That's a very high contrast, so the brightness needs to go up a lot. And now I've got that, I need to adjust the saturation. Not too much. Still need to recognize it as once been human, but I feel that the gamma could do with dropping. And that sort of brings it back to round about where it was. So I'm going to increase it a tad. And then step up the intensity. Again, a gamma can do with a little bit more. And now we're going to do the autofocus, theoretically. There's no way to actually set that, that's really strange. So autofocus doesn't want to work for me now. It's probably because these are glitched. So I do apologise, but we're just going to have to do it the slow way. Now it's quite close to where the camera is, so it shouldn't take too long. As you can see, the arm's coming in. Now the head is. We can increase the f-stop. And we're going to bring the focal length back a tad. About there. Increase the f-stop again. I'm going to hide the HUD for this. No, I actually quite like a little bit of line. No, I think that is a good picture. Step back a tad, so I just need to increase that, and again that's just to give me space to work on the crop and so on. Just making sure the outlines are all fine. We're still fine on his arm, so I was just looking at the horns, I suppose you would call them. So let's just grab that picture. I think I did right on that choice. I don't think that works too well. It's just quite busy in the... These guys...
Our permission to come aboard, sir. Smiling face with smiling eyes.
Welcome aboard, me hearty. How are we doing? I hope you're keeping well. I'm just looking at these grizzly little plants and seeing if I can do anything interesting with them. But yeah, it's been quite quiet again today. So it's lovely to have you on board. Just gonna grab that shot. I don't even need to adjust it. I really like that. That's kind of cool. So let's see now. What can we make out of this image? Now, I think the light on it was certainly quite crucial. And maybe play with that circular light in the background as well. And just crop a strange angle on it.
Oh yes, you know it. How's the gym going?
I almost died on 2 occasions. It's the only way to describe it. So on the Tuesday, which is my arm, legs and stomach days, before going to the gym, I was chatting to one of the guys at work, and I said, you know, I do deadlifts and so on. He's like, oh, try doing squats, which all you're doing is, instead of having the bar in front of you, you have it behind your head, but the rest of the movements are pretty much the same. But the next day and the day after, the top of my hamstrings are absolutely killing. And being that arm day involves doing like tricep works, so the back of the arms, they took a bit of a beating on Tuesday, but a lot of the exercises I do on Thursday, which is only 2 days later, also use the triceps. So yeah, they were hard workouts. Nothing that caused me to lose form or anything like that, but they certainly were. They took it out of me, mate. I was pooped by the end of that. Pardon me. Suitably tired. I knew I'd done a good workout. Right. It's taken a lot of mucking around, but I think... Actually, I'm just going to drop down a touch. I think I've got a good composition here. So I'm cropping the top of the circle because I like how the wall is going in like that. I like the texture of the wall on the bottom half of the semicircle in the middle of the window. I like how you've got the vine coming round as well. It's just a mess of shapes, but for some reason I really like that. So, and just so you know, what I'm doing for this stream is I'm going for high contrast images, which is not something I ever do. I tend to shy away from really striking images, but that just means I need to push myself, and that's what I'm doing now. So I'm experimenting and sort of finding my way to some extent to get the looks I'm going for. But being that it's so new to me, it's quite a trial and error. Certainly a journey of discovery. And I'm almost using my emotions to know when it's the right hue and the right level of contrast and so on. Oh, that's annoying. Okay, so I had found it, I had set it up, and then I pressed the wrong button. And it was, so I know that I had wanted that around about there. I do need to be higher though. Oh, it's definitely higher. I think maybe further along here. No, it was definitely around there. I felt I was higher. I clearly wasn't. Because the texture in the lower half.
Haha, I'm glad you're getting a good workout.
Oh
But you
my
like
days.
to put yourself through the ringer, don't you?
Yeah, most certainly. But it is the best way to get results, I suppose. Or at least that's what I keep telling myself. While I'm slowly dying from exhaustion. But, yeah, I mean, I'm not aiming for anything. I'm not looking to get big or anything like that. It's just, it's a way of getting healthier, whilst also just getting out of the house. I mean, I'm already near the gym when I finish work, so there's no harm, no foul. You know, it's no effort for me to go there. And because I do what's known as supersets, it really doesn't take that long to get through the workout. I'm probably done in around 30 to 45 minutes. I think it would be fair to say. I'm just going to drop that brightness a tad. And I want to do focal length. Well, we're going to start with the f-stops. So 22 maybe. Really, I'm only interested in the two circular windows. The rest of it, I'm not that interested in. 22 is too much. So now we've got the thing in focus. Just need a little bit more. Oh. I didn't think about that. I've now lost the texture on the wall, which I rather enjoyed. But it is a rather busy image anyway. So I think I'm fine with that. Give a little bit more space to that plant. Don't know why that's so shallow. I think I need to be there and drop it. Because I'm using the bar to separate the two lights. And that, I think, is the image I'm going for. Maybe move it slightly more there. No. That is the image I'm going for. And I've just noticed the dragonflies, so we're going to focus on those after this picture. Quite striking room, actually. So let's just get that. And we're just introducing the subject, which is the decanter. Possibly the... No, we can't do the book, I don't think. Just trying to work out the right angle for this. Maybe a little bit too deep. I'm going to go slightly higher. Have that in the corner. Something like that, maybe. And this may involve some serious cropping to possibly take out a lot of the table and everything everything below it. But that should get the image that I'm looking for. So that's quite high contrast. It's quite a big increase in contrast. Gamma it up a bit. So that's quite clear. And then drop the saturation. Not too much, that really made it quite cold. Increase the red in that. No, I don't want to mess with the actual balance of the colours because I rather like the greyish brown of the walls and the green of the curtains. Let's just try smidgen higher because I just want to capture more of the top of the curtain. I may not include all of it, but it's nice to have options. So let's get that picture. So I took myself out of the comfort zone again with going for more high contrast images, which is something that I'm not particularly comfortable with, simply because I tend to favour more natural looking images, and going for a very high contrast really highlights the fact that it's a computer game images that I'm going for. But I am fairly happy with the results, and if you've made it through to the end, then hopefully I've interested you in the process. I mean, if you do want to know more about virtual photography, there are some great people out there. I've put some links in the description to Photography Gamer, who's also, if you click on the link, it actually comes up as Play Games, but still well worth checking out. And you've got Photo Mode Reviews as well, who's a great source. But if you want to learn more techniques as well, I've linked in some photographers in there, and also the Photographic Eye, who is a photographer, and a very good one as well, so not to take away from it, but I find them more inspiring on giving you ideas of what to take photos of. And if I'm honest, a lot of these streams have actually been subjects that were covered in those videos, so I do strongly recommend you check them all out. So we say goodbye so we can say hello again. Goodbye.